Hi everyone, this is me Kapil Sikka. I welcome you all to this channel. As we have optional paper tomorrow, so certainly there are do's and don'ts of writing down the optional. When it comes to PSIR, there has to be certain limits, there has to be certain way of writing down the answers. Those who are getting the marks must be writing in some manner. Those who are not getting the marks must be missing out something. So in this video, I'll try to explain what do's we should do and what don'ts we should not do. So when it comes to the question, the first thing you have to keep in mind is structuring. Structuring remains the most important component of your answers. Many times we write everything, but we don't structure it. That basically deducts, or that is the reason of the marks reduction. So when it comes to structure, let us say a question has been asked. You have to write a good introduction, because something which has been introduced in a very good manner definitely will help you in getting good marks. So when it comes to introduction, keep this in mind that introduction should consist of a definition if required. It should consist of a scholar if it is available. Let us say you are writing down the democracy, question on democracy. So introducing the question from the scholar's perspective will definitely help you fetch good marks, and it will definitely look like a PSIR answer. It will not be an ordinary answer. Usually what is happening that students are writing down the answers, but they are writing very ordinary answers. So in the introduction section, if you have the definition, if definition is required, also keep this in mind that you have to fulfill the demand of the question. What has been asked should be written rather than what I know should be written. So this is the basic problem with the students, that they are writing what they know rather than what is being asked. So over here, keep this in mind that definition has to be very apt, very crisp, and very second. At the same time, if you have scholar, do not forget to mention that particular definition with the help of scholar. On the other hand, when it comes to body, body should go with the thematic flow. So what has been asked should reflect over there. If theory is there, do mention the theory, do mention the features, and then do mention the application, because every theory, unless applied, is a vague theory. So whenever you are writing an answer, keep this in mind that every theory must be having some kind of application. Do mention that application. At the same time, every theory has an alternative theory. This is what is the thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So if you have the other side of the story, other side of the theory, criticism of the theory, scholars over there, do mention them. So when it comes to the alternative thinkers, alternative scholars, if you have written 2 or 3 scholars in the body part explaining the theory, explaining the idea, do mention 1 or 2 scholar criticizing the idea. And then when it comes to the conclusion, always put a balanced conclusion. Conclusion has to be balanced, conclusion has to be like this: nevertheless, there are certain issues in this theory, but it is a time tested one, or it is actually as per the time it was written. So every theory has a time and space relativity. So accordingly, you have to wind up in this manner, that yes, despite of the criticism, nevertheless, despite of the criticism, this is the balancing viewpoint of this theory. Now the second question comes, that how many scholars should we write? I always say do not overemphasize on scholars, and I'm not saying don't write these scholars. Writing down these scholars is the essence of PSIR, but too much of scholars basically creates too much of confusion. You are repeating the same thing with more and more scholars. Many times you have habit of writing down the same idea by 5 different scholars. That is not going to suffice the purpose. That is not going to fulfill the purpose of the answer. Keep this in mind. You have to reply, you have to give the answer what has been asked rather than what you know. So when it comes to scholars, do mention a decent number of scholars. How many? It should be 2 or 3, not more than that. Now when it comes to the linkages, do we need to link our answers? What will make our answers different from others? So basically linkages would make your answers different. Let us say you are writing down a theory of democracy, do try to mention the example. Writing down Marxism, do try to mention the example. Writing down 1A, do try to pull up something from 1B. In 1A, you can pull up the application from 1B. When you are writing 1B, you can definitely pull up the scholars and the theorists and the thinkers from 1A. When you are writing 2A, always try to support two-way with the help of ongoing international circumstances, and in 2B, try to mention a bit of theory. Do not theorize. Do not theorize. Just make sure, do not theorize. Just write down the keywords from 2A. So 2B answers require some kind of 2A theories: hegemonic stability, strategic alignment, balance of power. Such kind of words should be written. This will differentiate, or this will make a difference, that it would not look like just a plain IR answer, it would look like a PSIR answer. So this is what you need to keep in mind. When it comes to do not forget, what I should not forget. I should not forget quoting down the scholars in 1A. I should not forget case laws in 1B. I should definitely not forget writing down the articles: Speaker Article 93, Parliament Article 79, President Article 52. So this should not be avoided. This should definitely be written. This will give relevance to the answer. At the same time, when it comes to 2A, scholars, keywords, examples, and 2B is about keywords, examples, and scholars, definitely scholars. Now, time management. I always say something which has been written in the given or the stipulated time is the best answer. Something which has been produced in leisure, something which has been produced not keeping the time limit in mind, is not definitely a good answer. So you have to write a good answer, plus at the same time you have to maintain the time limit as well. So how we should maintain this? Usually I have seen that students first write the long answers. Let us say in section A, they must be picking question number 2, question number 3. In section B, they are picking 6, 7 or 8, whatsoever is the question. So first pick up the long answers. Then pick up question number 1, because you are in the middle of writing down, or you are in the middle writing down the paper. So writing question number 1 in the middle time will definitely give you a very balancing writing. Why? Your handwriting would be maintained, your inertia must have gone, and you are not yet fatigued. So this is how you can start writing down the long answers from section A, section B, whatever comes first, and writing down question number 1 and then question number 5. So question number 5 should be the last one. Okay, so this is how you can just manage the time by writing such ways. And always keep in mind, 10 markers should not be given more than 7 minutes. Then 15 and 20 markers should not be given more than 10 minutes and 12 minutes respectively. This has to be kept in mind. Now, when it comes to diagrams, many times students have been raising the question that do we need to write the diagrams? Definitely not. Obviously, when it comes to 2B, diagrams are not required. When it comes to system theory, when it comes to Saptang, you can always put up the diagrams. It should be relevant. Whatever you are writing should be relevant. UPSC awards and rewards on relevance. Something which is relevant would be rewarded, something which is not relevant would be discarded. So make sure that whatsoever diagram you are putting up over here should have a relevance. Next comes, obviously not the maps. Maps are not required. It takes a lot of time. You don't have that much of time. Plus you don't have that much of space. It is not a geography optional. It is a PSIR optional. So drawing the maps, India-China border, India-Pakistan border, definitely would not serve the purpose. Writing down the scholars, writing down the keywords would serve the purpose. Now next comes what which we should do with the less known questions. There must be some googly. Yes, there must be googly. There were googlies in the previous in the past time as well. Let us say revolution in permanence. 2022 it was asked. Now no one was aware about that question. Revolution in permanence. What exactly is revolution in permanence? In such kind of questions, what we can do is, when it comes to the term the revolution, we must be aware about the fact that who has talked about revolution. Either Aristotle must have talked about revolution, or Marxist scholars have talked about revolution. So try, if you are able to find out, yes, it is about the Marxist thought, then do mention the idea of revolution, the crisis in the Marxist, in the capitalist society, the writings of Marx. This is how you can just write few words. Do not try to beat around the bush. If you are not sure, then leave it. Then this is the last resort you have to do. You have to leave it. But do not try to beat around the bush. Beating around the bush is not going to fetch you marks. Yes, but when it comes to keywords, let us say there was a question on Greek perspective of justice versus Rawls perspective of justice. You have the knowledge of the Greek perspective of justice. You know the pre-Socratic justice, Socratic justice, and then you have the Rawlsian justice, you can just connect the dots. So many times you have to connect the dots to bring out the best answer. Obviously, in such cases, you would not be able to write the full answer, but yes, at least you would be able to introduce, you would be able to give the definition, you would be able to write few scholars. That would definitely give you some marks, 1 mark, 2 marks, something like that. That is definitely going to improve your probability of securing rank or interview. Now, examples, etc., should be given in less known. Then what we should not do? Some scholars say like this, some scholar, no, it is not a bluff paper, it's a specific paper. If you don't know the scholar, be specific. If you don't know the scholar, skip it, otherwise be specific. Don't ignore the directives. If the question has directive, critically analyze, then make sure directive is being followed. Then when it comes to the critical analysis, always do the critical analysis. Even if the question is very positive in nature, you must have the critical side of that question. Do mention it, and obviously do not write the congested answers. Okay, do not do a lot of congestion over there, because examiner, if he is not able to read those answers, he must be a 60-year-old man, he must be a 55-year-old man, he doesn't have that much of bandwidth, he doesn't have that much of great eyesight, I think. So if he is not able to read your answers, then he will not suitably, he will not give you marks. Now what you need to do, the last takeaway of this video, is nothing but scholarship. It's scholars, current affairs, organized structure, linking theory, analysis, relevant components. Then you have simple presentation, holistic illustrations if required, and then precise intro and your conclusion. Intro and conclusion should be precise in nature. Okay, so these things you should keep in mind, and do not panic. You would be able to sail through this paper. You have studied a lot. That is why you are writing mains. Keep this faith, keep this confidence with you. Definitely you'll come out with flying colors. And with that note, all the very best for your paper. See you in some other video. Till then, goodbye, take care, and God bless you all.